Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymart and you're watching Test Driven TV. Today we're test driving the 2025 Honda Civic Sport Touring Hybrid hatch. That's a lot of words all in one title, but this is the hatch. There is a sedan. You can get the hybrid in both, and this is a fully loaded model. This one that we're testing today is pricing out at $34,500. If you get the base hybrid sport hatch, you're right around $31,000. If you get the sedan, you can start about $1,000 less across the board. And the option here, of course, we have is this beautiful pearl blue paint. Boy, even in the cloudy weather that's in some of the shots, it's a nice bright color, but when the sun hits it, that pearl comes out just subtly. It's just a really nice color for the eyes if you like a bright blue, and I do. So because we are in the fully loaded model, this has a few upgrades visually. We've got the nice gloss black trim across the front. This has the 18-inch alloy wheels that are the premium wheel option with the nice premium tire. The rest of the styling on the hatch, very much identical to what we've expected to see over the past few years of this generation Civic. And if you get the sedan, there are a few differences in the fascia designs here and there, and it's a little bit longer. Really, the big news here for this test drive, because we have test driven this car before, is the fact that under the hood for this year is a new hybrid powertrain, 2-liter Atkinson cycle, 4-cylinder engine paired with a 2-motor hybrid ECVT transmission. Altogether, it has 200 horsepower, which is the most horsepower you can get in the traditional Civic lineup, unless you step up into one of the high-performance models. This is rated at 50 miles per gallon city, 45 highway, and 48 mpg combined. Well, that wraps up our walk-around tour. Now it's time to take a drive. The first thing you notice when you climb behind the wheel of the Honda Civic, any model you get, is how comfortable this interior is. Honda, in my opinion, has always had some of the best seats in the business. These are comfortable, they're supportive, they're good sporty seats, something that has been lost in a world of SUVs, which all tend to have these more sort of, built for the average person, not driving enthusiast person. These are really some nice sport seats. And with the equipment level we've got in here, a lot of nice features to just really make this interior nice. Honda has good quality. The design of this interior, I think, is top of class. It's very precise. It's got a great aesthetic, and it just feels of quality. Really some of the best quality at any price out there. And if you want to learn more about the interior and a real detailed look at it, you can see some of our other videos on this generation of the Honda Civic. We've got quite a few test drives out there. Now on the road, we're out here on my favorite back road. This is noisy pavement. And the reason I point that out is because it's pretty quiet in here for the most part. These tires, the suspension damping, and the overall tuning of this chassis is such that it doesn't feel super noisy, not a lot of road noise, and very little, if any, wind noise that I can notice. It feels of quality. The steering has got a nice weighting to it. It's precise. And with the drive modes, depending on how you set those, the steering feel does change slightly. But the suspension tuning on this, the brakes, just the way it feels when you throw it into a corner and you really get on the brakes is pretty good. And with a lot of hybrid cars, the brake feel tends to be a little bit weird because in most cases they are electronically controlled brakes. Well, here they've got a nice modulation and they feel pretty natural, which I like, because a lot of times when you're having regenerative braking and regular hydraulic braking and the interface between those two modes of braking, not always really good in hybrids, but here you'd hardly know that we're talking about a hybrid. So the chassis tuning, just as good as you're going to find in any Honda Civic out there, which is good. Woo! I just love this car when it comes to handling. So now we've got to talk about powertrain, because that's what we're here for. This new hybrid powertrain is now standard, as I mentioned on the walk around, in the top 2 trim grades of the Civic. So when you step up the trim grade ladder, you get the hybrid. And so the actual cost of stepping up to a hybrid as an engine option is a little bit massive. I think my first reaction to this powertrain, getting behind the wheel and driving it, my first word that comes to mind is refinement. This is one of the most refined hybrid powertrains that I think I've sampled in a very long time. The interplay between the gasoline engine and the electric motor is nearly imperceptible. You don't feel it, you barely hear it, and because the electric motor on this itself is very powerful, it has a strong EV mode. But before I get into the weeds on that, the first question I always like to ask when I really start talking about powertrain is, how does it go? So we're out here in the middle of nowhere, I'm in sport mode, and go. Actually got a little tire spin there. Sounds like it's shifting, and 60. Now, this is a hybrid eCVT that's offering up simulated shift points. Did you catch that? That's pretty cool. You hardly know that you're driving a hybrid, let alone something that's got a continuously variable transmission behavior, because it doesn't behave that way. You mash the pedal, it sounds like a normal Civic. Woo! And it's got power too. 200 horsepower, and you feel it. It's spirited, which is another thing you usually don't associate with hybrid. Sounds good, feels good. It's a fun car. Hybrid's just a side benefit out there. And when it comes to MPG, this is rated at 48 MPG combined. In my week with it, I got about 45, 46. Not all the way up to what's promised, but the point I'd make there is that the air conditioner's been on 100% of the time. It's been, close to 100 degrees here in Phoenix this week already. So air conditioner hits the MPG, especially in a hybrid, because that air conditioner is powered by the same electric battery that powers the motor. So when you're using the air conditioner, that's less battery for the electric motors. The gasoline engine has to run more, hence fuel economy takes a hit. So overall, I am really impressed with this powertrain. Cattle guard again. When you come to a stop, you roll away, electric power, nice and quiet. Gasoline engine just came on, barely notice it. And back to what I was sort of talking about before we did the acceleration thing, the electric motor in this is very strong. On the freeway, it's not uncommon to look down and see the EV light on the dash cruising along at 70 miles an hour. This has enough power from the electric motor to maintain a cruising speed if the battery charge is adequate. And that is one of the reasons why this does have an impressive MPG number. And so overall, compared to like the Toyota hybrid system, I think the level of refinement here is much better. It's certainly more sporty, certainly more fun to drive. And the MPG, well, that just depends on how you drive it, right? So I'm impressed with it. I would recommend this powertrain just for a fun, spirited backcountry drive, let alone something that's going to save you money on gas. Yeah. Well, there you have it, my friends, our test drive, walk around, and presentation of the 2025 Honda Civic Sport Touring Hybrid. Now, we have full test drive reviews with all of the scoring and the detail that we normally do on plenty of other examples of Honda Civics in this current generation. You can see those out there on our playlist on our YouTube channel. A lot more detail into how it drives, what the interior's like, and all the little nuts and bolts and things like that. Today, obviously, we were just talking about the update with this new hybrid powertrain and how that impacts the drivability, the livability, and the appeal of this car. And I think it improves it greatly. The standard powertrains in the Civic are great, but this is really special, I think. And I think it's fitting that they have put it as the standard powertrain of the upper trim grades. So it makes sense to me. And at this price, when I start looking at what you can compare this to, the Honda is comparable to, I would say, the Toyota Corolla Hybrid. Hyundai and Kia both offer similarly outfitted vehicles that you could compare this to in sort of an apples to apples way. When it comes to design though, the aesthetic, the overall feel, I think this is a step up from all of those. Interior quality, the just beauty of the interior and the design, I think is one of the best in class. And when you start looking at price, it might be a little bit more to step into this vehicle compared to a couple of others, but I think it's a more premium product. So I think pricing, we're right on the money. The last anecdotal piece I would tell you is that my husband, he has a last generation Civic. It's about 8 years old now. He's had it since it was new. And this is one of the first new cars in a while that he has been around where he said, I like this. I might be interested in replacing my vehicle. It's tempting. So that's just an anecdote from somebody who is a longtime Honda owner and a customer that has seen this car and gotten exposed to it and thought, yeah, this looks like a good choice for me. And I'll add that this current generation Civic is on our Test Driven TV I'd Buy It list. It has been for a while and continues to be. And if I were buying a Civic today, I would probably go for this hybrid, because not only does it have the performance and the refinement, but it also has MPG that's just pretty killer, I think. So there you go, the Honda Civic Sport Touring Hybrid. I highly recommend it. Now, if you like what we do, you can see our latest video right there. Better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel right down there. Either way, stay tuned.